Tuatahi he mihi ki te kāinga I tēnei rā, I te matua tama wairua tapu me ngā anahira pono me te māngai, hei tautoko mai, ai nei ake nei ai. Kia koe, kia koutou, I ngā rangatira, I te kōrero tuatahi, te kōrero tuatahi, I te hono I tēnei rōpu ki ngā huihui mā. I ngā rangatira, ki ngā kāhui maungo o tēnei taki wā, te whare tapu Jinabara, tēnā koe, tēnā koutou katoa. Sorry, aroha mai. Nō reira ki ngā maunga I tēnei taki wā, ngā mihi ki ngā tūpuna haere atu rā, I te whare tapu I te pōnei, haere atu. Nō reira, kia koutou mā, I roto I te whare, tēnā koutou, kia ora hui tātou katoa. Aroha mai, I te rākau rangatira, Bunya. I bring all my love from home in the mighty Tai Tokiro and Aotearoa up into the north. And I bring all our love from our rākau rangatira, I he Kauri mā. I bring that through to you, to this part of this country in Queensland. I want to acknowledge some of our earlier speakers that have come on, but also the tribes of this local area. I want to acknowledge you for your past, and always remember and never forget that you are the tuakana, you are the elder of us. We are but the teina over in Aotearoa, New Zealand. We are the younger generation of these people. So nō reira, kia koe, kia kaha, kia maia, kia manawa nui, I tēnei rā. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa. Can I talk from this? Yeah. I'll leave that to you. Is this not high enough? It's not working.
It's not a mic.
Oh, it's not a mic. Okay. I thought it was a mic. Look, Mita Harris is my name, and I'm from the largest tribe in Aotearoa, New Zealand, up in the north, in Tai Tokiro. It's a tribe called Ngāpuhi. It is the largest, and we occupy quite a large area. An area where Kauri grows significantly in that area, has a very powerful presence for us. Without it, we would be absolutely lost. And it's a bit like you over here as well with the Bunya. Without the Bunya, you will be lost. It is a provider of all things. Am I echoing too much? Okay. I work for a government organisation called Biosecurity New Zealand. Within Biosecurity New Zealand, a few years ago, 3 years ago, they set up the Kauri Protection Agency, or Tiakina Kauri, and that got going 3 years ago. Next slide, love. These are the things that I'm going to cover. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail when I'm talking. I could be with you here all day and talk about some of this stuff, but there's far too much detail. But you can contact me later on. I think Karen's got my contact details. You can give me a ring, and while we're just sort of hanging around here, having a bit of food together, I'm happy to talk some more. So our first one is the Kauri. If you can do the next one. Spencer mentioned before about our Kauri, a very old-lived tree. We've got one that's there, Tāne Mahuta, which Spencer showed earlier. About 2,000 years, so it was sort of landed about the time, or planted about the time of Christ, and that's about 2,000 years ago. There have been some that are older and much larger. That one's half the size of a tree, a rako, called Kairaru, which was not too far from Tāne Mahuta. Agathis australis, and I know that over here in Queensland you have Agathis robusta, which is a cousin, and you also have another one, I think, down in New South Wales. Ours is a little bit older, and I think it may be a little bit taller, but comparatively, the Bunya and the Bunya heights and Kauri heights are kind of similar, about 51 metres plus, so they are quite significant trees. Next slide. Beginning of time. This is where all the power, the mana, comes in, like the Bunya, beginning of time for us. So you can see, the world was full of darkness, and this is biblical stuff. The world was full of darkness at one point. Iō matua kore gave the privilege and the mana to Tane Mahuta, Lord of the Forest, or the Kaitiaki of the Forest, to separate his mummy and his daddy, his mother and his father. So above is the sky and below is the Mother Earth. So Rangi Nui in the sky and Papa Tuanuku as the earth. He separated his mother and his father. He talked with his siblings first, had a long conversation with his siblings, with wind, with life itself, with food, all those other kaitiaki, those guardians of those different things that we value very much, as you do over here. Not all of them agreed that their mum and dad should be separated, but regardless, that mana was given to Tane Mahuta to separate his mother and his father to let light come into the world. And there you see is the separation and the light and all other things coming into the world that we know today. His legs were Kauri, the tree, the raku itself. That was the power and the mana that separated the mother and the father. All that strength went into to do that. Because they didn't all agree, we've got things like Whaitotara hanging around. He's always going to get pursued by the wrongdoing that some of the siblings thought that he did back in that time, and it'll always be here with us. It'll come to us in all sorts of different forms. But Whaitotara, we believe as Māori that that's just another form of a payback for what happened all that time, eons ago. Next slide, love. In cultural terms, the rako is the kauri is a very special tree. Māori used a lot of it, the bigger ones, to build waka. A lot of them had waka or canoes that they used to get them from one part of the country to the other, to fight each other, as you do, but also to gather food and all those sorts of things. So you can see the carvings on there. Maybe that's not such a good shot, but there are carvings on there where when Māori arrived in Aotearoa, New Zealand, the styles and the culture was quite different to what you see today. You see those circular patterns, taniwha creatures and all those sorts of things starting to take effect as they moved into the country, into Aotearoa itself. So coming from the Pacific Island groups is very different. You see the tā moko, or the facial tattoos, also with circular motions. They're all different from where they came from before. And that's an influence of the land itself, but also the people that were there before, the little people, the fairy people that live within those lands showed Māori the different ways of, or how to live within the place of Aotearoa. So there's quite a very romantic relationship between the tree, nature itself, and Māori, and it's always growing. It never stops. It's one of those things that'll just continually go all the time. Okay, next slide. In modern day use, probably around about 1821, Māori decided to get into trade with Europeans as well. In the first instance, there was love, but there was also a lot of opportunities as well, and Māori took up those opportunities to trade. And the first cargo of kauri spars went out of the country in about 1821. A little place called Whangaroa, near the Bay of Islands up in the far north. They travelled over. They were a gift from the tribe of that area to the king for his navy, and they took those over. You can see the volume increased by the 1940s, massive volumes. Basically what they were doing was cutting trees down. They did not have bulldozers and oxen in big numbers back in those times, so they felled them as best they could, created dams up in the upper reaches of the river systems, and they formed dams, huge dams, they were quite massive, and put the logs into them, and until the water built up, rolled them in and released them, and they all ended up in harbours where they were fished out one by one and processed and sent overseas, or taken and pulled all throughout the country for a milling to take place. It supported state housing in our country, I think up until the 1970s, so it was a massive resource that was available, and there was a lot of exports that went overseas as well. Chicago, Australia, New South Wales, I think, you couldn't get enough of it, so New Zealand supplied not only a national demand but also an international demand as well. Next slide. Right, so this is where we started. We started in 2021. The government of the day, which is the government before the government that we've got in at the moment, invested $45 million into a Kauri protection program. It formed an agency. The agency, as I said before, was to stand alone unto itself, but the government did not want to, a State Services Commissioner did not want to form any more government organisations. So it was found that they looked for a similar organisation to what we were trying to achieve, which is Biosecurity New Zealand, and they landed that agency within Biosecurity New Zealand. Biosecurity New Zealand sits under the Ministry for Primary Industries, which is a bit of a juggernaut organisation. It has fisheries, food safety, agriculture, forestry and biosecurity. Next slide. When we were set up, there was we had $45 million, as I mentioned before. The investments that we were giving out were, in my mind, they were too high at the front end. 45 million. Getting rid of a bulk amount of money over the first 3 years was tough work. There was lots of cups of teas, lots of cakes, and lots of entertaining at the front end. But we didn't really have a toolbox. We were trying to meet the demands and objectives that the government was setting for us of the day, and we were working from the north right down to the central North Island, working with community groups, working with agencies to look for ways where we can invest in Kauri protection. And it came in all sorts of ways. I mean, some organisations, some local government organisations were already set up, ready to go, so they just needed a little bit more gas in the tank. But we also wanted to engage with our Indigenous people, with Māori groups within the Kauri lands, that region, and they weren't necessarily set up to do the job, so we had to invest in building tools as well as giving them money at the same time, which was really hard work. If I can give any advice around delivering money from a budget that you may get from either state or local government, is to invest very lightly at the front end, get your toolbox sorted out, and then invest the bigger parts of the budget. Probably 2 to 3 years down the track. It's worthwhile setting up a working group initially, I think. It's something that we didn't really do. We just kind of got stuck in and got on with it. But a working group, a steering group, I think it's the way to go. Setting up a group from all sectors, Indigenous and state council, community groups. It doesn't have to be huge at all, and just get that group, facilitate that working group to sort of look into the future on where and how things could be delivered around the project. I mean, I've just put an idea up there. Something like this could sit very closely with a state government, the cabinet. Was it Premier and Cabinet? I saw that online, and I saw their slogan: "Together we are all stronger," as a lead agency. Remembering that if you do set something up, I think it's got to be like a SIM structure. When you've recently come through an emergency situation here in Queensland, you set up some sort of SIM structure, and then you sort of deliver what you need to deliver from that. And it's very possible you could do that with an agency for the protection of Bunya. Okay, next slide. Yeah, like I said before, we spent a lot of time on the road between top of the North Island and south. One of the things we found, especially with working with Indigenous group, is that they didn't necessarily have structure or training around managing money, building work plans, having IRD numbers, tax numbers. Those is something as basic as that. So a few of us, the relationship managers, spent a lot of time with our Indigenous groups and some NGOs, helping them set up a bit of a plan. And even with tax, health and safety is another one too. We did some training around that, providing facilitators to come in and help them out with health and safety. So getting them set up, because you don't want to set them up and then set them up to fail. You actually want them to set them up and make it work, because it works for everyone, right? We also ran a campaign as well, which I've got some stuff here, some T-shirts and bits and pieces, that was running at the same time. Made a huge investment in that, social media. And that went quite well. That was fantastic, and that ran parallel as soon as our program kind of kicked off. It's one of the things that saved us. We ended up on TV, billboards. We had flyers, T-shirts, drink bottles, pencil cases, all those sort of things that sort of just gets the message out there about protecting our Kauri tree, pathogen, cleaning shoes, providing money for the stations which you have over here. I think they're made in New Zealand. The ones that you have over here, the wash stations, providing a lot of stations for significant sites where tourists land and our natural walk areas. Okay, next slide. So we also building our toolbox. This is where I've got Candice's one, I think. I've just got one example of a toolbox that we built on, and unfortunately Candice couldn't be here today, and she was going to deliver this one. Okay. So Candice, she works for the Northern Regional Council, which is in the northern part, north of Auckland, and they have a small biosecurity team, which is, I think I've got three rangers within that group, including a manager. And part of our investment to them is funding the staff and some of the events and some of the resourcing equipment that they need. There's some stuff on surveying. Survey Forest Health provides critical, truthful collection of data and insights into health, distress or death in populations. Without survey record keeping, data cannot be collected with accuracy, and information for decision making is not readily available. Accuracy with the intent of one source of truth is vital to support species under threat, so that resourcing and future-proofing can be supported with valid data. Okay. There's surveying methodology, is a pre-selected area. I'll let you read that. And ad hoc, just the definitions of that, symptomatic, and resurveying some of those sites. Where to survey in some of our forests. So you've got high risk areas, you've got significant sites, and data collection targets as well. Yep, next slide. And when to survey. Typically survey of ground-based work is done in dry months. So for us, that sort of lands around October through to kind of about now. And Northland's actually in the drought at the minute. So these are the best times to get out there and start doing a survey, when it's nice and dry. Spring, summer is the perfect time. Canopy health, new signs, the emergence of growth. You can see the visibility, the tinge of the colour and the tree changes. It's kind of a light green, so it's actually quite beautiful. General rule of thumb in New Zealand is no ground operations are conducted within 3 days after rain to reduce the transfer of contaminated soil. So here's your data. I think some of you are using Survey 123 here as well, but we have that over there, over New Zealand as well. The Survey 123 is a good tool created by, so that's Land Information New Zealand, which is a kind of a Crown research institute. And we've contracted them to basically do our GIS mapping, so that we can sort of upload all this data that we're getting from the field across Kauri lands in our country. Ground-based survey, foot soldiers on the ground, manually record data and generally held within that organisation, aerial surveillance and AI mapping as well. This is some of the stuff that when you pull it up on your phone as an app, that'll come up, and these are the sort of questions that'll ask you when you run through it. Yep, photo coordinates, so that's GPS. They're working on something at the moment where it's sort of boosting the signal while they're in the scrub, so they can get beyond the canopy of the forest, so they can upload some of the information that's taken in real time. Okay, next slide. A lot of our trees are tagged. Sometimes they'll have, which you probably have over here in Queensland, is areas where they tag trees, and you've got a surveillance area that you can go back to regularly or intimately. We have those over there as well. Yep, next slide. And soil sampling, when you're taking the soil samplings, so there's some questions there for this as well, and that's all uploaded onto the system. And these are your tree sizes. So some of the smaller ones, we call them rika, your intermediate size, and then you've got your more mature ones. Okay. Yep, next slide. Variabilities in the canopy. So taking a look at your canopy from a certain distance from the tree, it's sort of measuring your foliage browse, and there's a rating there that you can see the numbers. Quite easy to follow. Okay, next one. This is a bit of a map of the this is in Whangarei, I think, just north of Auckland. You can see some of the dotted areas where Kauri monitoring form 2024, PA not detected, PA not assessed, and PA positive sites. So you can see just out to the right and to the north. Okay. And this is just north of Auckland, Northland itself, and you can see just some of the areas where Northland Regional Council have been doing their surveys there as well. Cool. Biospatial mapping is a tool coming to life to map canopy decline. You can see some of the green tinges and some of the reds. Real smart technology that they're using at the moment over home. Questionable data during its infancy stages on Kauri dieback, deemed 80% accurate. This tool is proving to be a game changer in survey and monitoring. The resolution can be quite high. We've used fixed wings in the north and to the south of Auckland as well. Yeah. Artificial intelligence, drones fitted with AI are an outstanding tool for agriculture and horticulture at the minute. And there's, I think they're using algorithms. There's a good chance that it's going to be good for Kauri, and looking at Kauri health from a canopy, which you can sort of start planning on where you do your surveys and how you get there, and that sort of thing. Did you read that? So drones, using drones. Northland Regional Council use drones quite a lot, actually. There's some positives and negatives about using drones as well. You can see some of the bullet points there about safer operational staff, minimise risk of hazards within a forest, high resolution, reduces the risk of spread of disease, cost effective, night flying capabilities, weather friendly, and some of the negatives there is time consuming for communities and consultation with landowners. No one likes a drone flying over their place. Risk of being removed from the sky pathway, unwanted collisions, so okay. This is a bit of a drive through, if you ever make it over to New Zealand, through Waipoa Forest. There's some trees quite close to the road right through, which is about 15 kilometres of roading, where you see some trees that have been infected and pretty much passed away completely. Quite devastating. When you're down on the road, you can see the comparative size of the road to the tree itself. They're massive trees, they're huge. Okay, next slide. Ground surveillance outcomes, so visual inspection for understory plant health, insights to vectors not otherwise visible, and ngā whakaaro, also feelings of the forest. When you get in there, how do you feel when you're in there as well? So all those sort of frequencies and feelings of forest itself, apart from the physical things that you actually see. What's a bird life is like as well in the forest? Okay, next slide. Kauri hygiene zone to help protect Kauri it's important to remain outside of the Kauri protection areas. And I've just got a picture of what that looks like in the next one. So you can see sort of the what we call the outermost canopy drip line between the tree and the ground itself. Okay, next one. So the scale of risk by volume. Okay, next one. So we've got a low risk around boots, hand tools and equipment, other pest animals, bicycles, medium, pigs, cattle, horses, garden maintenance machineries, and high is earth removing equipment, trucks, large farm machinery, four-wheel drives and so forth. Okay, this is some of the hygiene kits that we give out randomly, I guess, for people that are sort of moving in and out and doing surveys in the forest. They'll carry this stuff. We've got Sterigene in there for the cleaning, which I'm sure you guys already use over here as well. Okay, next one. There's a bit of a picture of Kaidaru, which was larger than Tani Mahuta and Waipoa forest. And you can just see the root system of that tree in comparison to those little humans next to it and the tree itself. Quite intricate, quite large. This is a model that was built by Weta Works down in Wellington, and it's something that we use on the back of a trailer just with education, moving that around the country. Quite effective. Kids love it, and yeah, very effective piece of kit. So collaboration, partnerships are vitally important with the program. 1,000 cups of teas, you know. I can't express how important that is to sit down with people and, you know, be with them as much as you can before, during and after the operations. Data sharing is something that we're still trying to get our head around. We're building a bit of a policy around that internally. You have sovereignty as well. You know, there's some things that some of our Indigenous people won't want to give up, but there are some things that they can give up to form those data layers that Land Information New Zealand are putting together for us. The cultural awareness of some of the significant sites that we have within country. You know, there's some sites like here where things happened or actions took place or something was laid down many, many eons ago, and those things need to be respected for what they are. So, you know, when you're working in area, it pays to know those people and have those conversations with those particular tribes so that you know where to go and where not to go. Conservation, you know, Kauri, they also create their own ecosystem as well. There are a certain amount of species that will grow under Kauri trees and other species that won't. So what we call papakainga, their own little nursery, you know, that they create themselves. The leaves are quite acidic, so there's only certain species that will grow underneath. And inclusive, you know, all of our community inclusive with Kauri protection within our region. So this is a national approach. We've got a national pest management plan which sits under the Biosecurity Act in 1993, the strongest protection possible. It came into effect in 2022. Next slide. And the objectives of the MPMP is to reduce the spread and impact of PA, maintain PA-free areas, manage access to Kauri forest to protect Kauri. The plan contains 10 regulatory steps to help Kauri, and Tiakina Kauri, which is the agency I work for, is the management agency that sits within Biosecurity New Zealand. Yep. So here's some of the rules. As I mentioned before, there's 10 rules. I'll let you read through them. So there's a must report from the landowner, a must provide information, plant producers, nurseries, must not remove any Kauri without a plant production plan, occupier of land must operate in accordance with and approved PA risk management plan. Yep. Next one. Undertaking earthworks within a Kauri hygiene plan, you need an earthworks risk management plan. Grazing animals must not enter a Kauri forest. in that specific area, and must not release animals within a Kauri forest. Next ones. And they're clean on entry and exit. Yep. Okay. So here's a little bit of an interesting one. Kauri, like bunya, are susceptible to soil-borne pathogens, creating dieback. Whilst these ancient species are cousins by nature in the conifer world and grow to enormous scale, they are also very open to disease. They are ecosystem engineers as well, as you know. Survey gives clear insights of an ecosystem's health on a larger scale, providing a critical source as to what controls may be needed in the event of a disease arriving, or if it's present. Just a bit of a interesting fact there. Tāne Mahuta in Northland, 51.5 metres. Bunya Mountains National Park reported a bunya pine, 51.5 metres. So found that quite interesting. Okay, next one. If the land is well, if the sea is well, the people will thrive. Okay, where are we going for time? I think that's about. I think we have to go back to. Yeah, is there any questions? Sorry, I was cutting it a little bit short. I think we're having morning tea shortly. Is there any questions? That was quite a fast ride through this sort of stuff. Like I said, I think networking later on is the best way to go, and come and see me, come and talk to me. I could spend here, stand here all day and have a talk about how things went and what to do and what not to do and those sort of things. We're only 3 years in. We're still sort of finding our way, but we've got 2 years left, and we're not sure whether the government's going to reinvest, but we've just set up contracts for the next 2 years for people to deliver Kauri protection within Kauri lands. One thing to note, even though the central government has invested, was it $45 million over the last, over 5 years, Auckland Council alone have invested $100 million in their protection program, which started a few years ago, and that's the Indigenous Rangers and the Aotearoa Rangers, so serious investment from them for the next 10 years, which is better than us. Got it?
Within your schools, like within the education system, I'll pass it on. Naras, this is Gabrielle Rakaru, and my question is that in the North Island, where Kauri is native to, and there are like schools with children in, do you have an educational program in there relative to the Kauri dieback for all school students to learn?
So some of the investment that we make, that we've given out to groups, part of it is actually go out and to do education. Some of them go to schools, some of them go to community groups, some of them go to other agencies to talk from their perspective about what Kauri protection looks like. So it's totally up to them. Like I said before, we invested heavily in the amount of resources that we could supply to them, t-shirts and flyers and all sorts of things, videos, VRs as well. VRs in Northland has a very good one. We've made those sort of investments so they can take those resources out with them and deliver.
So is that like if the teacher's aware, then the children get to learn, or is it part of the policy?
It's not a policy. It's more something that we provide that they can deliver. Yeah.
Money's flying all the way.
You're all hungry.
Can everybody please join in measure a great